We're at Hamble Point Marina for motorboat and yachting today, and I'm joined by our technical correspondent Greg Goulding. Together we're going to be testing out a series of outboard engines on our little inflatable here, starting with a Mariner model. So let's take her out in the water and see how she performs.
This is the Mariner 5 horsepower. It's a single cylinder, the same engine as the 4, 5 and 6 horsepower varieties, just slightly different tuning. This is a nice little engine. It's quite smooth at idle and at cruising speeds. For this year we've got a new gear selector, so it's slightly more easy to reach rather than being on the tiller handle itself. It's got the internal and external fuel tanks, so it's got 1.1 litres in there, which will give you about an hour's worth of cruising. But if you want to go a bit further, you've got the external fuel tank here, which is available as an extra. We weren't quite able to get on the plane, so we got just below 6 knots, sort of between 5 and 6 knots. It did feel like it was just on the cusp of getting on the plane, so maybe a different boat or slightly more powerful engine would have got it there. This Suzuki 5 horsepower is the lightest 5 horsepower currently on the market, so I'm told. The gear shift is to the side, which isn't the most convenient, so when you're sort of going along you have to sort of reach around, which is not always the easiest to do, especially if you're turning. It all feels very basic, but again, this is where they've managed to save weight. One of the things I'm not too sure about is the lift handle, which is down here. It's just a basic bit of metal. Again, it's just weight saving measures. Now, if you really want the lightest outboard, they're the sort of things you have to deal with. Noise-wise, it's quite noisy. It's not the best sounding engine. It's a bit rattly. Performance-wise, it's not quite up there with the other outboards, such as the Mariner. But then again, it's not actually that bad. This is the Lear 5 horsepower outboard. What makes this different from the other 5 horsepowers is it runs on propane gas. You get the cylinders just like this. This one here is about £7 or £8, although they are bringing another one into the UK, which is a bit cheaper at £5. A cylinder like this will last you between half an hour, depending on what sort of speed you're doing. Alternatively, even on the 5 horsepower, you can have the external fuel tank, which is, you can have anything, a 6-cylinder gas cylinder like you'd have in your barbecue. That could last you 20 hours, pretty much an entire season. One of the key features of having propane rather than petrol is it can often be an inconvenience to get petrol, whereas hopefully many local Chinas will have these in stock. Now you can keep quite a few of these, and if you do run out of this, it's likely to have a big gas cylinder on board which you can actually attach through here. This can be the same gas cylinder used to cooking. Also, there's no priming, so this is slots straight in the back. Because it's pressurised, you just pull and go. There's no choke, it's easy. As an engine, it runs very well. It's very much like a petrol, there's no real much difference. Speed-wise, it's maybe a little bit down, and noise, it does sound quite tinny as you go up through the revs. But as an overall engine and an alternative to petrol, it's quite a good idea. The Yamaha has a larger engine than most. At 139cc, it's 10% larger than all the others apart from the Suzuki. This allowed it to accelerate to the 6.4 knots, the fastest on test, in just 5.2 seconds. But the thing I like about this most of all is that you can lay it on 3 different sides without the worry of oil dripping out the sump. It's a great feature when storing on board. This is the Honda 5 horsepower outboard. As an outboard, it does look dated with the square cowling, however it is the current model from Honda. The grab handle is nice and big so you can get hold of it quite easily, although the edges are perhaps a little bit too sharp to be comfortable. When running, it's a little bit shaky and noisy, and performance wise it really is the middle of the road. There is no internal fuel tank on this, so you have to carry an external tank, which can be a bit of an inconvenience for some. This is the Tohatsu 5 horsepower outboard. Speed-wise, the Tohatsu managed to break the 5 knot barrier, although it took longer than average. However, we're impressed with the smoothness for an engine that's the cheapest on test. A big testament to its quality is that Evinrude, Mercury and Mariner all use Tohatsu engines under their own cowling. So we've tested a whole range of 5 horsepower outboards today. It really comes down to personal choice. You can pay more and get the quality of the Yamaha, or have the lightweightness of the Suzuki, or you can have something a bit different such as the propane powered Lear. It really is your choice, but to find out more, read the Boat Show issue of Motorboat and Yachting.